channel message about the horror show that is Planet Earth oftentimes, and what we witness, especially what gets reported in the media, what we are presented with on the stage, if you like, and how it makes us feel, and how this is like a fear porn for many of us. And we go through these stages of needing to observe and absorb sometimes this fear porn, and we get carried off on a journey with it. And it's not to say that this isn't necessary. Sometimes we have to engage with that. But, every month of the year, there's something else that is going to grab our attention that's, for most of us, that's going to be like, this is horrific. How can we let this happen? What are the reasons behind it? What's really going on? And then, disbelief, and then outrage, and then, determination to make some kind of a difference and do something about it. But the most important thing I feel with this is remembering what frequency we're at. So I posted a little while ago about the different levels of frequency in terms of our emotional states, and whether we're living in a happy place with that or in an unhappy place. And until you start getting towards belief, inspiration, joy, you're not in the happy place, you're in an unhappy place. And frequency in our lives dictates everything. So for me, like, this message is about remembering the importance of raising our frequency. Where do we want to operate from? What are we doing each day to raise our frequency, rather than not making those kind of conscious choices and being stuck in fear, or in negativity, or wailing about it, or just feeling lost. And I really do, that we have to go through this process sometimes. I've been through it a few times in my life, especially with the pandemic, and other things that have gone on in years before then, and even recently, watching sometimes what goes on out there in the world. And the message here is to focus on what you're here to do. What's your passion, what's your joy, what are you here to do, what do you really believe in, what can you do with your life, with yourself, where you're like, hey, I'm doing at least something of what I'm supposed to be doing here, and I feel good about it. I feel like I'm contributing, I feel like I'm making a difference, and this is really where life starts to get good. And so again, that's a raise in frequency, and that's a consistent, you're leveling up in frequency, and you're kind of not dropping away, or if you do, it's not for long. So the card I got here with this, Six of Wands, I mean, you can look at the movement, positive movement in the right direction, as a result of this change in your thinking. And, once again, I don't think it's something that happens overnight. We dip in and then come back, and we dip in a bit more and then we come back. But eventually it becomes like a sustained way of being, because it's like, well, I'm doing something of what my soul actually wants me to do, and I feel good, I feel passionate, I feel purposeful, I feel optimistic and hopeful about the future. All of this stuff is like an indication that you're operating in that, that top end of like, where there's more happiness than there is sadness, right? So that really is the message. And the Justice card is coming there to say, justice is being served, but it's on the inside. It's your own internal justice, because ultimately this whole world and everything in it it's all moving pictures. It's all like temporary images that are floating around you. What's inside you and how you feel on the inside is what really counts. So with that shift in perspective, justice is being served, and you're actually going to experience and see in the world more of what you want, but you have to make that choice internally. Once again, I've done this so many times in my life, where I'll go backwards and forwards quite a bit between that one kind of level and energy and the other. It's like flipping from one side of the coin to the other. But I do feel like we go through this process, like with many processes in our lives, we go through it enough times and we're like, right, I'm done now. I want to operate in this new place because I know it's a lot better for me and it's a lot better for other people. So why wouldn't I do it? And you've got the Four of Wands there. That's lovely. What a lovely card. So you can see there's quite a feeling of success and contentment. So this is where you want to get to. right? I know that's not necessarily the true message in that card, but that's what it feels like to me when I look at it. You're feeling, you're going to feel so much more contented and happy with yourself if you can keep yourself in that higher frequency, in that higher range of frequency where there's more happiness than there is sadness, and you're focused on the world you want. You focused on the world you're creating, the world you're building, not the world you don't want, right? That's so important. Why do you think all this stuff is plastered all over the media, all over newspapers, all over everything? Because it's designed to keep you in fear and keep your frequency low and keep you, almost masturbating over it, because, that's what this energy wants. It wants you to be consuming that shit. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be, compassionate for people that are suffering and for, people that get killed and like atrocities that take place. Yeah, correct. We should absolutely have compassion, and we should be there for people when we can, and we should try and make a difference in the physical when we can, or even just sending people good energy and good intentions and trying to help them from afar, whatever it is. I'm not saying we shouldn't do that, but ultimately your primary responsibility is to your own energy in your own mind and your own heart, because that's where you can be most effective overall, in the world, in this game called life. So and this is the result of you doing that. Okay, so Nine of Pentacles, I mean, really enjoying this space of fulfillment, okay, and feeling like you've really got somewhere, you're appreciating the beauty and the love in the world around you, but it's because of this change in attitude. And my wish is for as many of us as possible to live in that energy, to live in that place, because that's where we can do most for the world. So, and I'm posting this because I see like a lot of posts where people are like, getting so upset and like horrified by what's going on. And yes, you should be, but like ultimately the ultimate victory for you and for us all is about energy, it's about frequency and holding a high bar, holding a high line, because it's going to be better for you and it's going to be better for everybody else. So hope that was helpful.